Alright, so let's look at the next one, internally generated goodwill. Alright, so basically goodwill can be defined as a business good name. Alright, it can be an asset, alright, a very important asset to the business. Alright, but the problem is relating to how we measure this business good name. And the business good name could be derived from the whole process of operating the business, alright, the whole process of all the way that we manage the business, alright, how we deal with the customer, alright, how do we manage our business, alright, or it could be due to other things, okay, that would contribute to the success of the business. Alright, for the internally generated goodwill, alright, so can we capitalize, even though we think that, alright, we do have a goodwill, okay, our business reputation, our business name, okay, is very important, alright, to the business, okay, we say that our business name or business reputation is very important. This is our asset, okay, this is our asset. Because of our name, because of our reputation, alright, people keep coming to our business, okay, people keep coming to our business over and over again. Alright, this is what we say, alright, as the business owner, okay, or as the manager of the business. However, the problem is, okay, how do we measure the goodwill? Alright, how do we measure the goodwill? Alright, you can simply put any amount to the goodwill. You can say that, alright, I think my business name or business reputation worth 5 million ringgit. So I want to add this amount to the financial statement under non-current asset. Because without this name, people will not be coming over and over again to our business. Alright, so you want to include that 5 million ringgit, okay, into the financial statements. Alright, so but what about the standard? Okay, what does the standard say about internally generated goodwill? Okay, so MFRS138 specifically prohibits the recognition of internally generated goodwill. It is because, number one, it is not identifiable, right? For internally generated goodwill, it is almost impossible to separate them, okay, to transfer them, to sell them separately, alright, and then there is no contractual or legal rights, okay, saying that you own this business name, okay, you have this business reputation, alright. It is not identifiable resource controlled by the entity, okay, it is not identifiable resource controlled by the entity, okay. Alright, and then it cannot be measured reliably at cost. How come you say that your business goodwill, your business name or business reputation worth 5 million? On what basis did you provide the value? Alright, so it cannot be measured reliably at cost. Okay, so let's look at one example on this one. Okay, during the economic crisis, Djokovic Berhad claimed their sales for the product handkerchief grown steadily. Djokovic contributed this to goodwill that it has created among its leading customers around the world. He wished to incorporate the amount of goodwill in the books of 4.5 million. Okay, in the books at 4.5 million. Okay, so Djokovic believed that, okay, that Djokovic contribute, okay, this to goodwill, okay, that it has created among its leading customer, alright, that their sales, okay, increase even though there is an economic crisis, okay, because of their good name. Alright, however, MFRS 138 specifically prohibits the recognition because it is not identifiable resource controlled by the entity and the cost cannot be measured reliably at cost. Therefore, Djokovic shall not recognize any goodwill in the books as internally generated goodwill shall not be recognized as an asset. Alright, so the accounting treatment for internally generated goodwill is that it is prohibited to be recognized as intangible asset in the books of accounts. Alright, Okay. All right. What about internally generated intangible asset? All right. So we do have other than internally generated goodwill. Okay. We do have other intangible asset which are internally generated. Okay. What are the examples of internally generated intangible asset? So we have here brand, masthead, publishing title, customer list, and item similar in substance. All right. So these are examples of internally generated intangible asset. But from the point of view of MFRS 138, okay, these internally generated intangible asset are not to be capitalized as intangible asset, okay, and all the costs incurred or related to the internally generated intangible asset are to be written off in SOPL as an expense. Okay, it is because the expenditure incurred cannot be distinguished from the cost of developing the business as a whole. Okay, most probably the design process, the process of creating the brand, the masthead, publishing title comes from the inside, from the employees of the business, okay, who works also for the other things as well. All right, so it is not separable. Okay, it is not separable. The whole process is not separable from the business. All right. Okay, however, all right, it is possible to recognize internally generated intangible asset, okay, as intangible asset, okay, for items such as product or process development, okay, or possibly patents developed from the development activities. All right, so this item, okay, is possible to be capitalized as intangible asset provided that the asset meets the criteria for recognition. All right, and then an entity should be able to classify the generation of the asset into research phase and development phase. If the entity cannot distinguish, okay, if the entity cannot distinguish or differentiate the research phase from the development phase of the internal project to create an intangible asset, the entity should treat the expenditure on that project as if it were incurred in the research phase only. So what is the implication if, okay, if the expenditure incurred are related to the research phase only, okay, all the expenditure incurred are to be expense of in SOPL, okay, and not to be treated as intangible asset. Right, so let's look at example 4. During the year ending 31st December 2013, Nadal Berhad incurred 700,000 in acquiring customer list, while Williams Berhad incurred 900,000 in designing masthead for Future magazine. Both companies estimated their useful life to be 10 years. Alright, so discuss the accounting treatment, okay, for both situation. Alright, can we recognize, okay, the cost incurred in acquiring the intangible asset as intangible asset? Right? Okay, so in case of Nadal Berhad, the cost incurred 700,000 are to be capitalized as intangible asset because the acquired customer list are identifiable. It is separable. Okay, because it is not internally generated but an acquired customer list, a purchase customer list. All right, and then it is controllable by the entity. All right, and there is a probable that future economic benefit will flow to the entity from using the customer list, and the cost of 700,000 can be measured reliably. Okay, while for Williams Berhad, okay, the cost incurred of 900,000 are not to be capitalized as intangible asset but to be expense of in SOPL, all right, as an expense. Okay, because the design of masthead, okay, are generated internally. This is internally generated intangible asset which are not allowed to be capitalized as intangible asset. Therefore, 900,000, okay, will be expense of in SOPL. Okay, in addition, for Nadal Berhad, okay, the cost of 700,000 are to be amortized over its estimated useful life of 10 years. Okay. Okay, what is a research? What does it mean by research? Research is original and planned investigation undertaken with the prospect of gaining new scientific or technical knowledge and understanding. Any costs incurred during the research phase are not to be capitalized as intangible asset, and the costs incurred are to be expensed of in SOPL when it is incurred. Alright, so let's look at what are the examples of research activities by referring to para 56 of MFRS138. Okay, examples of research activities are activities aimed at obtaining new knowledge, the search for evaluation, final selection, application of research finding or other knowledge, the search for alternative for materials, devices, product, process, system or service, and the formulation, design, evaluation, and final selection of possible alternative. Okay, they are looking for possible alternative for new or improved materials, device, product, process, system, or service. So the keyword here is they are basically looking for a new knowledge and they are searching for the best application, for the best material, for the best process. Okay, and then they are looking for possible alternative. All right, they are still searching for something, they are still looking for something. Okay, all right, so these are the research activities. So any cost incurred, okay, for these activities are to be expensed of in SOPL. All right, so let's look at one example. Jack Chibo Berhad has been undertaking a research project to find the medicine for cancer in 2008. The total cost for the project was amounted to 12 million and was written off at that time. In early 2014, the company has successfully started the development of the medicine. For 2014 financial statements, the company wishes to write back and capitalize the research cost of 12 million written off in the previous year. Alright, so what are we going to do about the costs that have been written off in the past, okay, of 12 million? Okay, the company is recommended not to capitalize the research expenditure because the research expenditure that they have incurred in the past at that time, okay, okay, they still cannot because at that time the future benefits, all right, because at that time the future benefits are not probable. Okay, they are not able to demonstrate that, okay, they cannot demonstrate, okay, that there is a possibility, okay, that their project will have success in the future at that time. All right, okay, so any cost that they have written off as an expense, okay, cannot be reinstate and capitalize as intangible asset. Okay, all right, so let's look at the next phase, the development phase. Development is the application of research finding. Okay, you are no longer searching for something, you are no longer searching for new knowledge, all right, or for new materials, okay, for a new process, okay, but it is the application of research finding or other knowledge into a plan or design for the production of new or substantially improved material, device, product, process, system, or service before the start of commercialization, okay, of the product. Okay, before the start of commercial production or use of whatever that you have developed. All right. An intangible asset arising from the development or from the development phase of an internal project shall be recognized if and only if an entity can demonstrate all of the following. Okay, all of the following are, okay, they can demonstrate the technical feasibility to complete the intangible asset, the intention to complete, the ability to use or sell the intangible asset, okay, how the intangible asset will generate probable future economic benefits, all right, the availability of adequate technical, financial, and other resources, the ability to measure reliably the expenditure attributable to the intangible asset during its development. All right, so if okay, the entity can demonstrate all of this, all right, then any cost incurred during that development phase can be capitalized as intangible asset. If it is not, okay, even though the company already entered, Okay, even though the company already entered into a development phase, but at that time they cannot demonstrate. Okay, they cannot demonstrate all of this. Alright, they cannot demonstrate all of this. So what happened? All the costs incurred are to be written off in SOPL. Only when they can demonstrate all of this, or then, okay, then starting from that date, okay, the cost incurred for that project can be capitalized as intangible asset. Alright. Okay, so let's look at the examples of development activities by referring to paragraph 59. Okay, so the examples are the design, construction, and testing of pre-production or pre-use prototypes and model, the design of tools, jig, mold, and die involving new technology, the design, the construction, the operation of a pilot plant. Okay, the design, construction, and testing of a chosen alternative for a new or improved material. Okay, so basically the keywords here are the design. Okay, meaning that you have confirm, okay, of the process, confirm of the material, confirm of the tools that you want to use, all right, of the process, of the service, of the system, all right. Okay, so you design, okay, for pre-testing, pre-production, all right. So these are the development activities. So any costs incurred for these development activities are to be capitalized as intangible asset. Alright, so I keep on saying that all costs incurred, all costs incurred. So what are the costs that can be recorded, okay, as intangible asset? The cost of an internally generated intangible asset comprise all directly, okay, all directly attributable costs necessary to create, to produce, to prepare the asset to be capable of operating in the manner intended by management, meaning that all costs that you have incurred, okay, throughout the period. Alright, so let's look at the example by referring to paragraph 66 of MFRS 138. Okay, so we have here cost of materials, okay, service used or consumed in generating intangible asset, cost of employee benefits or direct labor, fee to register a legal right, amortization of patents and license that are used to generate the intangible asset that are used during that period. Okay, so if you are using special machinery, okay, or using certain equipment, okay, in the process, in the development activities, okay, any depreciation of those machinery, of those equipment, okay, also can be capitalized as part of, okay, as part of the cost of intangible asset. Okay, the following are not the components of the cost of internally generated intangible asset, which are selling, admin, and other general overhead expenditure. Okay, identify inefficiency and initial operating losses incurred before the asset achieve planned performance. All right, and any expenditure on training staff to operate the asset. All right, so these costs are not to be included as part of intangible asset. Okay. Alright, so let's look at the example. Ya Benda Bedu Berhad is undertaking research and development of olive oil-based product. The company incurred 200,000 every month in their product. Research was undertaken during the first quarter of the year. Okay, so let's draw the timeline, right, to make the story clearer. Okay, so the first quarter, meaning that for the first 3 months until 31st March. Okay, so this is the research phase. The development of their new product began in May 2013, but the directors were only confident of the feasibility and success of the new product in October 2013. Alright, in the question, we are not going to show all the list, okay, that they need to demonstrate, okay, for the expenditure to be capitalized as intangible asset. Okay, we're not going to show all the list of criteria, okay, that they need to demonstrate. Okay, but Okay, but we are going to mention something like this. Okay, confident of the feasibility and success of the new product, meaning that they are able to demonstrate all of that. Okay, they are able to demonstrate all of those criteria. Okay, all right. So meaning in October 2013. Okay, so this is end of the year. Alright, okay, so this can be considered as development phase. Alright, from here to here. This is the research phase from here to here. However, even though they have entered into the development phase, but only in October they are able to show the feasibility and success of the new product. Okay, meaning that only cost incurred during that period from October to December, okay, only cost incurred during that period can be capitalized as intangible asset. Okay, only this period can be capitalized as intangible asset. So they incur around 200 every month times, okay, October, November, December, so 3 months. Okay, 600,000. All right. Okay, so let's look at the solution. The research expenditure of 600,000 incurred during the first quarter of the year is recognized as an expense and written off against the current year profits in Swapper. The development expenditure of 1.2 million incurred from April, okay, from this period, April till September, okay, did not meet the asset recognition criteria and hence recognized as an expense and written off against the current year profits in Swapper. While the 600,000 cost incurred from October to end of the year can be capitalized and deferred to the next year when the asset recognition are met. Alright, okay, so meaning that not all expenditure for the development phase are to be capitalized, but only those that met the recognition criteria can be capitalized as intangible asset. Alright, okay, so that's all for initial measurement of intangible asset.